I just saw perfection, in my opinion. You see, because I have a certain taste. I like. I like DC. I like gritty. I like reality. I like The Watchmen Part 1. This movie was fantastic. Not only was it a marvel to see on screen, feeling like a literal comic book came to life. The action, the way they spoke, it portrayed everything, every emotion I felt while reading the original work. And yes, I read the original work. Movie started out like most of the comic book series I cover on this channel, with a death. The comedian dies. And for the sake of respecting the time and effort they used to make this series, I'm not going to spoil it. He was murdered. And this series follows Rorschach's journey into discovering who killed the comedian. Now, I need you guys to understand the comedian is not a good guy. He's portrayed as a hero, but he's not a hero. He is a bona fide bastard. He has done nothing good in his entire life on earth. He goes by the name comedian because he thinks everything else is a joke. Yes, that is how he got his name. This guy sucks. But because Rorschach always seeks justice like another Cape Crusader we know and love, he has to solve this crime. He has to find the killer. Throughout this movie, he uses the guise of trying to inform other heroes that someone is hunting heroes as a means to investigate every single one of them, low-key. At least that's what I think. We also use this opportunity to step into the life of all the previous heroes in this world, and their lives suck. I mean, except from Ozymandias himself, everyone else's life is absolute garbage. And honestly, I feel Rorschach's life is the worst, but he thinks he's the shit for some reason. Feeling like, because he's the last one still actively trying to stop crime, he's like writing some way, but he really isn't. He sucks. Everyone sucks. But most of all, I have pity for the one man who should be a god. We see the life of Dr. Manhattan, how he was created, how he was birthed, how he started to detach himself from reality, the people around him, how, quote unquote, he gave his friends cancer. Jesus Christ, that was dark. Pushing everyone he knows and loves to the side. Unknowingly, to be honest, because he's seeing everything at the same time, so being attached to people doesn't really make sense. Boy, don't get me started. I love the Watchmen series so much, I could make a whole video on it. So I'm going to stop with the story. Go watch the movie, it's fantastic. Now, let's talk about the animation because it was so crispy. I mean, I was so immersed. At a certain point, I found myself wishing that some movies could just straight up be recreated in animated format. Not from animation to movie, but from movies to animation, because animation is such an underrated media. God, look at this. And it was also a benefit. They got to cover such an amazing story. And we are just in part 1. If I'm correct, we're supposed to get part 1 and 2. I'm hoping there's a 3 somewhere, because I don't want this to stop. Voice acting was on peak. The narration from Rorschach from start to the finish of this movie was just, ugh. My God, this guy is a menace, and he is clearly sick in the skull. But we still rock with it because some things he said were just absolutely uncalled for. The disrespecting of women in this movie by him is insane. So, if you ask me for my honest rating of this movie, I called it perfection, and I meant that. It was straight up perfection to me. You may not like it. It's a slow burn. It's not for everyone. It's not the Avengers. This is Watchmen. Watchmen done right. Oh, and before I go, fuck you, comedian. I hated every second with you on screen. And maybe that's a good thing. It shows me I am not crazy and I'm not a misogynist. And it also shows that you are a very fantastically written character. This ain't no Homelander, guys. You will never like this guy. And if you like him, get your head checked, please.